So first of all, I'm very excited that this is happening now, and I want you to loosen up. You need to smile more today. You need to smile more. Let me get some wine. I'm gonna be doing. Do you like sweet, red, white?
I love sweet
See,
wine.
so today I have sweet wine.
You open that thing, man.
It's very, very crack. It's like it comes with the territory. But how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get you water very soon.
Foza.
So, you guys are welcome to the Her Creative Journey podcast. My name is Foza and I'm going to be speaking to my two friends today and having conversations about the industry and how we've navigated it as women in the African industry. I'm speaking today to Inky. Inky is I used to call her Nkechi, and today she said, my name is Inky. So Inky works in the film industry, and she's one of my one of those people you look up to from afar, and you're just like, oh yeah, you're doing good work, I admire what you're doing. And I have Lucklyn here. Lucklyn is a powerhouse in the music industry in terms of I particularly love the work that she does with Wande Cole, and I'm excited to have them today to be talking to me about the topic of breaking glass ceilings that we've experienced as women in the industry. Thank you guys for joining me today. So Inky, please introduce yourself to the podcast.
Okay, so my name is Otike-Odibi. I am an esteemed business executive, and I currently work at Papaya Studios, a film production and distribution company.
Amazing.
Based in Lagos.
And
yeah.
you're such a badass too.
Try.
My name is Lucklyn, Audu. I am an entertainment lawyer and music business executive. I currently lead my law firm, Greshel Law Partners, and I also have a talent booking agency, Greshel Consulting Limited.
I think that's one of the boldest things in the industry.
Well,
it's interesting. I tell people that we have this limitation that has been set on us differently. First of all, you have the limitation that you're African, you're black, this, but we are in an interesting sect because you're a black woman in a male-dominated industry. Now, coming into this industry, did you see any glass ceiling, or did you ever hear the word glass ceiling? And if you ever did, what did you define it as? Thank you.
So for me, I have to be honest. So I have walked in the footsteps of many women before me. I started off my main entertainment career in a company led by a woman. The head of legal before me was also a woman. So, but I remember before I got the job, I had met the head of legal before me at a conference, and I remember then I didn't even think it was a possibility to be the head of legal in an entertainment company. I never thought that was a thing. So then meeting her, she was young, she was a woman. It was like a dream you didn't have, and then all of a sudden you see someone embodying it, and then you now have it. So because of them, I didn't actually feel that there was anything that I couldn't do. They kind of paved those ways for me. So I wonder what it was like for them, but for me, they kind of made that wasn't a thing, actually.
That's interesting because I knew the head of legal before you.
Yeah.
And also before her, I think it was also another woman.
Yes,
it was. So shout out to Audu. She leads by example.
Oh no, she does. She does.
She leads by all the head of legal
significant
women.
Part of the company, significant number of heads in the company were women, and it still is that way. Actually.
Shout out to her. Lucklyn.
Okay, so when you say glass ceiling, what I would interpret it as is simply a false perception or a false narrative. So above the ceiling, probably there are greater heights, there are better things to attain, but there's this false blockage that probably just limits you as a person. Personally, I have had a few of them. There are lots of perceptions and myths in the industry, especially regarding women. Let me just start with this one that I'm currently struggling with because I'm in the music live performance part of the industry. It's that I probably have to be a tomboy or be perceived as a guy to succeed in that industry. But I would say that I've been able to break that ceiling, because you're not going to see me wearing a baggy shorts and wearing sneakers and doing all of those things. I would some days when I feel like that, but I am feminine, I'm a woman, and I'm going to be that no matter the industry I'm in.
You know, and I love that because when we were talking backstage, I told you that my introduction into the industry was I'm a natural tomboy. But the interesting thing about the tomboy, I told the story in my book of how I became a tomboy, was because I can't be bothered. Actually, truthfully, everybody had boobs already. And I was just trying to, and I'm skinny, so I was trying to cover my insecurity, and I just took the tomboy route because it was just like, you just throw on a shirt and you're good. But when I came into the industry, it was just like nobody said it, but it was kind of like it was required of you to be thuggish and be one of the boys. Yeah. So my own survival skill was adopting the tomboy thing, So when even like unconsciously, which I've been trying to retrain my mind, I go out and I see like a female manager and you're like properly dressed, like very, feminine dress. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, you're not ready for work. But then again, I come, I'm like, but if she can't, Beyonce runs 5 hours on heels. If you can run on heel and do the work, kudos to you.
That's what's important.
It's interesting that I subconsciously had a glass ceiling. That glass ceiling made me more angry and that anger was my motivation. I was like, so people think I can't do this? All right. So I was constantly in a wheel to prove
your point.
So instead of, I enjoy what I do, I know I'm good at what I do. So instead of relaxing in that phase, I just kept on like, I'm going to prove to you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a point, blah, blah. And one of the reasons I started this podcast, right, is like, there's this myth of, like the myth you were talking about, women don't support women. Women are always fighting. Women are bickering. My experience, when I sat down and I looked at it, everyone that gave me a shot and opened a door to my next level were all women. Is that the same narrative for you?
Yeah, it's a very similar narrative. Like I said, women have been like at the forefront of my journey. And I don't know if it was an intentional thing. It just has been that way, I feel that, and even me, when I think about it, all the people who I kind of had in my time at my previous job were women, not because of anything in particular. I search for passion, and I feel that comes across easier with women than it does with men. Guys are a bit more guarded with their emotions and things how they feel about things. But women, they're more likely to show that. So because of that, I gravitate more towards women. So yeah, in my experience, it has been that way.
She's laughing because she has a different experience. It's a safe space.
So I'm going to say my truth. Men have been more instrumental to my growth than women have. And it's not because women are bad people. It's just that let's say I did not come across women in my space that much to help me. But the men, God bless the men that he has placed on my path, because they showed up and they showed out for me. And in that same vein, I intend to help other women. Because if I had seen a Lucklyn before me, like, I'm not saying that there are no women there, but maybe I haven't really seen them or met with them. Or like you said, one of your reasons for hosting this podcast is so that we know that there are women in this industry. Maybe I did not see them. But that's why we're here now, so that we would help other women that are coming, so that they see and they know exactly what to do.
I'm happy you brought that up, because most people will be like, oh yeah, you guys sound very vindictive, you sound very like... I've been helped by men, and I always give them that credit. I'm never shy to say, like, look, as much as I was part of the boys club too at some point, until they showed me and said, yeah, this way you're like, and that's something, because it's just like, yeah, we're gonna help you too, and that's where you're gonna stop, right? So for me, I wasn't confident in my femininity. I wasn't confident in my femininity for a long time, for whatever reasons, that it was. But I see you are very confident in that. How did you grow into that, especially in the industry that is very, hypersexualized for us as women, and also very male dominated? How have you been able to come into that femininity and like you enjoy it, you revel in it, and you flourish in it?
So it's been a process, honestly. I know that, okay, let's start by saying that working in the performance part of the music industry, it fell on me. It wasn't like I was ready for it or saying, oh, I wanted to do this. First things first, it was PD Picasso and One Day Cole coming together and saying, Lucklyn, you're going to handle my bookings. And then that's how all of these things started. And initially I was asking myself questions. How am I supposed to behave? Am I supposed to act like I'm part of the guys? Or am I supposed to be a woman in myself? And I went through the process of some days going out and being the tomboy, wearing big jackets and trousers.
I'm trying to picture you.
And honestly, I still struggled on those days because this is my personal feeling. I didn't think that I commanded enough respect in those attires or in those regalias or whatever, however I dressed then. So I became intentional about how I would look even when I'm going for a performance with my artist or with people that I work with. So if the event is a black tie event, I know I'm going to wear a very hot dress.
Oh, hallelujah.
So because I have to represent my artist, this is no longer just about Lucklyn or who Lucklyn is.
Yeah.
I'm representing a whole, like I'm representing big people. So I have to always look the part. So that's how I made up my mind, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to flow in this narrative that I have to be a tomboy. Honestly, somebody had told me that, I'm allowed to call names.
Yeah.
Right? Someone had told me that, don't you see how Osage dresses? That's how, I'm like, bro, Osage is great, and that's who she is. But Lucklyn would not be a tomboy because I want to be in an industry. I'm going to be Lucklyn irrespective of whatever narrative that already exists. So that's essentially it. I just grew to a point where I became comfortable in myself.
I love that because Osage is my personal mentor. I love you so much, Osage. When you watch this,
I love her.
I love you. You're such a legend, and she's one of those people that broke the glass ceiling for a lot of us. Because in case you don't know, that was the person that made the brand that we call whiskey today. Facts. Let's drop it there right now.
Facts.
Because part of what we're doing on this podcast is calling out the women that have done great things. So like for you, have you always been comfortable in being a woman?
Oh, that's interesting. Have I always been comfortable in being a woman? So, and I think this is why things like this are important. Something I'm learning recently is that sometimes what we do isn't necessarily for the achievement of it or for the money of it. So like, for example, certain things we do are not necessarily to give us money or to make us the richest, but they're for the people who watch those things or see those things after us and be empowered to stand in their own power. So why I say this is, when I said I met Tommy, so Tommy was the head of legal before me. When I met her, I remember this vividly. She was wearing a blue dress and she was wearing heels that had like butterflies at the back. So I saw her thinking, oh, first of all, so a woman can be head of legal in an entertainment company and she can wear what she likes and look cute while doing. And it was like literally mind blown. So being able to see that I could wear whatever I wanted to the office. She was the one who actually ended up wearing, like, she used to come in dressed in very chill. I would come in dressed to the nines because I'm like, I see that this is a possibility. I will definitely be using it. So because I saw women do that before me, I feel like I could do anything. That's why now I feel like any room I walk into, I feel like I belong there because I've seen people who did this before me, and I hope that I'm that to somebody else after me, actually.
That's so powerful because for the longest time, dressing up, I never understood the power of dressing up, right? I tell people that I probably dress up once a year, and that's when I'm doing my birthday photo shoots. And there was one time I took I looked in the mirror, part of when I was struggling. I've struggled a lot with like body confidence, right? And I think one of my friends is a photographer, and he took this, we're at the pool and took this picture. And I looked at it, I was like, damn, I have a mad body. And I told him, I'm like, for my birthday shoot next, I want to do a bikini shoot. And he's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. You know, I took it's in my folder. Nobody's ever seen it. Let's segue into achievements. What is that one thing that you've done? It can be personal, it can be work-wise, that when you did it, you were just like, I can't do anything and everything. Like, you when you did it or when that happened, you were just like, yeah, nothing. Whether I'm black, whether I'm a woman, whether I'm tall, short, nothing is stopping me from doing that thing.
So, for me, I did a lot of work on the first Netflix original in Nigeria that was a series. So it was Blood Sisters. And Blood Sisters was a huge production. It was 4 episodes, I believe. 4 episodes, but behind the scenes, it was a lot. So I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember. There were a lot of like significant, like big cast. The cast was huge, A-list. So a lot of main cast, a lot of supporting cast. So a lot of contracts were back up. I was sleeping and waking up contracts. I remember there was a day, just random day, Audu called me and she was like, oh, what's the date for the photo shoot? And I just off the top of my head, I still had the date because I'd seen that date maybe 20 times that day. So there was a lot of work going into that. And despite the fact that at the end of the day, there were still some like things that fell through the cracks. I was very proud of myself when I was done with that I actually survived that experience and ended up like coming out on the other side being proud of the work. I was really proud of myself for that one.
That's great work. Amazing work.
Yeah.
I worked on Sugar, MTV Sugar, and I wanted to faint.
See, production legal is not a joke.
What about you, Lucklyn?
Okay. Mine would be when I started out on my own. That still remains one of my biggest achievements because the fear, Foza. The fear. So I'd worked with a couple of people or companies, and then I actually fasted and prayed before I
Yeah, we all
Necessary.
I fasted for 3 days, and I told God that you have to tell me 3 times. I want to see it in a dream, I want to read it in the Bible, I want to have a witness.
Yes.
And it all happened, all 3 of them, but I was still scared. And finally, when I made up my mind and dropped my resignation, I was like, God, let me just be happy my salary at the end of every month. Let me know that I can still survive. But being able to break out on my own, and I'm still surviving and surviving well, and I'm able to have new clients, I'm able to still work even harder than when I was working for somebody. That's like a great achievement that I would not be forgetting. But God is going to make me forget this one because He's going to give me more and more and more. And more.
Hallelujah, sister.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. You see, I love both perspectives because I'm a retired entrepreneur. Thank you very much. I'm a retired entrepreneur. I ran a law firm for 9 years. I straight out of law school. Like straight out of law school. No experience. I didn't work corporate. Straight out of law school. It was a mixed mash of rubbish, highs, lows. But I left that last year and I took a 1-year break. And that was my biggest achievement. Taking a 1-year break.
That's great.
Everybody was like, you're going to be broke. Or they'll be like, you're so rich. I'm just like, that's when, because for me, I had to be like, I was in this constant wheel of, am I going to be broke today? It doesn't say happen to you. You have like 10 million in your account. You're looking at it. If you spend 500K, you're already having panic attack.
Facts.
That's
Facts.
The money will finish.
Exactly.
And for me, it was just like, Foza, if you can shut down for 1 year, there's nothing you cannot achieve.
Yeah.
And when I completed it in December, I was like, damn, I'm badass.
I really
You
like
are
that.
badass.
I really like that there are 2 different perspectives, with one person having theirs in like in entrepreneurship, one person in corporate, and then one person like with rest. I feel like that's very important.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's a general thing or just maybe a women thing, but the idea of resting, especially in like this millennial age, and I'm going to say especially in Lagos, it feels like we are literally in the rat race. Like you're always chasing something, always looking for the next thing. So the fact that rest in itself is such a big achievement, I think that's
An
fantastic.
amazing
Yeah, it is, you know, and in just to piggy off that is it's intentional and hard work. And like why I picked, you know, so let's have this conversation because of the unique perspective that all of us bring to the table. Where you are is different from where I am. Where you are, the experience you have is very different from what I have, and same thing for you. But like I said when I was there, I said the reason I started this podcast was to show the diversity of women that are available, right? And just piggy off that, like this wine, I need to top up my wine. And this wine is from one of my friends, Tumi Akinola, and this is from Isivini Wines. Thank you. Do you want more?
No.
She's good. So, you know, we're just talking about we're talking about icebreakers. Just like, you don't drink. Do you find it? Do people harass you for that decision?
I wouldn't call it harassment, but I feel like I have to defend myself.
You have to defend. I see that as harassment.
Like I have to defend why I don't drink. Like, okay, you don't drink, why?
It's like
like something is wrong with you. Yeah, that's.
What about you?
My wine is done.
Your wine is you know, for me, it's like part of the meat of the industry was like deals were not being closed in the office.
I used to hear that. I used to hear that.
You want that investment? Oh, you have to go to the golf course. Oh, you have to play basketball. Oh, you have to play. But what I pick from that, you know, is the community that men have. So in your experience, do you think that we have enough community as women in the industry?
No. No, I think about it. No, maybe not. You know, we come across ourselves maybe at events or like across the table, you know, when Foza is writing me email and writing her email back and forth. But like gatherings where it's just, okay, let's go and hang out. Not really. And then I remember, I think it was last year, I invited you out to lunch, and it was just like a nice conversation, nothing out of it, just, and I hadn't done that in a while. I made a conscious effort to start doing it with more women, actually. So I don't think we do, actually.
You know, that's interesting, because I remember that lunch, and I was like, is it for work? Is it for, but I was just like, okay, you know, because I had a policy, I started a policy that even if I couldn't help at the moment, I was just going to give time. You know, so what about you? Have you experienced that community for women like the guys have?
No.
So you see that we have mandates.
Yeah, we have work. We have work to do.
We have work to do. But you know, part of that community is why I do volunteer work. You know, kind of I'm on the board of, I don't know if you know Fem Africa. I try to volunteer time. There's this called Audio Girl Africa, I volunteer time. Also Women in Music Nigeria. You know, let's just gather. Let's find, you know, that community, because I see that when men go and play football, it's just as simple as playing football. You know, I have this, I love you, Chi. You know, Chi, I wrote in my book, introduced me to how to function in the high net worth society. It's a thing, you know, because how do you relate to people, you know, on that level? And one of the things I found was that there's such a strong community that they have. You know, women are doing sip and paint. It used to be weird to me when she says, "Oh, my friends are coming over for sip and paint." I say, you just sit down and be painting. You know, or that, we're going to have tea in the balcony. You know, okay. Oh, I just want to garden. For me, I just started realizing that it's about community. And maybe you wouldn't have had that problem of not seeing women that you could look up to. And, you know, Mo has done a beautiful thing creating a community in that space, you know. So I think my next question would be, what is that one strength that you have as a woman? You know, not as a person, because a man can also have it, but that one strength that you have as a woman that has helped you on this journey and breaking those myths and those glass ceilings.
I think multitasking.
That's the.
I think multitasking. And this is not just necessarily about work per se. You know, the fact that you can do work, you can do whatever, family, you still have the presence of mind to say, okay, there's this or that, maybe there's a friend I need to reach out to, there's just the fact that you can master all those things and still kind of keep different things running at the same time. I feel like that's where it
But
is.
wouldn't you? I would argue that people that do fornication and adultery too can do that. just joking. Just joking. What about you?
So I think it has to be like my relationship skills and communication. So for me, every time I go somewhere I tell myself that I'm just going to be light here. And I try as much as I can to communicate with as much people as possible and just try to make a mark with them. So I think that has helped me a lot, even in closing deals and negotiating, because if you've met Lucklyn, and I think my name too helps. Like, my name is Lucklyn. You will not meet two Lucklyns in Lagos.
I know.
So when I meet you and I'm like, I'm Lucklyn, and then we have a conversation and you see that I can give value, it's just easy for you to. And then, obviously, I'm female. I'm sorry.
See, I love it. You own it.
I don't think men can walk into rooms because...
we need to recognize the privilege that we have, because they too, they have privilege.
Of course.
We also, and I think that's one of the things also, just typically just as Nigerians. Nigerians like to shame you for your privilege. Yeah. If you are rich, they're upset. If you don't have grass to grace story, anger. If you went to private university, anger. So there's a big thing against privilege. But I've gotten to that stage where I'm owning my privilege. Yeah. You know, one of the reasons I wrote my book was because someone came on Twitter and said, "You're a privileged person." I was like, "What?" I was like, "How?" So I went back to say my story, because nobody knew. Just people knew Foza. Foza. But nobody knew the story. And when I sat down and I went through my own story, I'm like, I don't know if it's a thing, but I created my own privilege. Like, yes, I came from a family where once I say my surname, legal luminary, legal Jim.
Weirdly enough, yeah. Also, I read a book. I did not put two and two together at all. Like, it never clicked.
I read the book there.
No, but
I was like, am I slow?
But you know that's a deliberate brand thing, because I said Foza for so long. First of all, many people don't know the surname.
Okay.
So when it actually is just like, it will take you. You probably have to be like a lawyer. That you be like, but if you're working with me, like you've interacted with me, like Foza, you never think of it like that. So for me, it was a deliberate thing, because I had to remove myself from the pressure that name brought. Because people used to assume I was rich there. I wasn't. I was not rich there. But it brings me to pressure. What are the pressures that are unique? You think that are unique to women in your space, as you found out throughout this journey?
Let Lucklyn go first.
Okay, so I think I've touched on it a bit, but like there's pressure to belong, to be a certain way, to be very. So I think I'm a kind person, but I'm quite firm. Not quite. Some people think I'm strict. You've not heard. I've heard I'm rude.
Ariasta said it. We're friendly and conscious.
Do you understand? So like there's this there's expectation for you to fit in, for you to be like the people that you serve. But what they don't understand is that you are serving. So your eyes need to be clear. Oof. Do you understand? Oof. So that you know exactly how you're serving and who you're serving. So that's one pressure, like, you have to be like them. Like sometimes you go for a recording session, or you're with artists and they are smoking and drinking and all of those things, and you're expected to. People feel like you will not come out with results if you don't join them and smoke with them and be high as them. But that's not how I see it. I feel like my eyes need to be clear so I can tell you things that you cannot see at the time. So that's one, pressure to belong. Let me think of another pressure. I think all of them falls under wanting to belong. I think everything just wanting to belong. Pressure to make you fit in and be a part of the big bubble.
That's so interesting, because in that stillness that we've decided to stand out, is where the best result comes from.
Yeah, yeah, and I also agree. I agree with her on the pressure because, for me, it's pressure as well. It's pressure to belong, but more to a different. So, I'm a bit more introverted. So I feel that maybe I'm losing something by not being a bit more, like being louder or being out there a bit more. So, it's always something encouraging or something pushing you to be outside of yourself, which I feel like this is why conversations like this are important. So you can get three people's perspectives so that there's no one size fits all. There's no one way. There's no one road to the market.
Yeah. But whilst I agree with that, I have a theory that women, especially in the creative industry, we refuse to sing our praises. We hide our achievements under the guise of the work will speak for you. The work will speak for you. Do you agree or not? And if you do agree or if you don't agree, you need to give me supporting statements.
So I don't. You know what? To a degree, yeah. To a degree, yeah. You want the work to speak for you. You don't want to feel like you're coming across as too loud or I don't know, call it pride in some ways. But just the way that the industry is formed, it's show business. You just have to be out there. That's the idea. If you're not, the notion is that if you're not out there, people forget about you. If you're top of mind, people don't remember you. So you kind of have to be loud. You have to say what you're doing. You have to say what you've done. That's kind of how the business works. That's how the dollars are churned. So you kind of have to place yourself. Where do you want to be? How do you find a balance between these two things versus who you are internally? So I feel like for me especially, it's a constant journey. Trying to find, okay, this is my personality. This is where I work. How do I work in a way that I'm not hiding, but I don't now come out in a way that it feels disingenuous. So that balance. You?
Okay, so I feel like it's 100% good to talk about your achievements, but then we have like different our personalities come to play. Honestly, like NK is a bit more on the reserved, and you are very out there. And I wonder how we're both Aquariuses. But I think I'm in the middle of all of this. I talk about my achievements, but at the same time, I think this thing is a mindset thing. It's like, don't go and sit too much. Let people not think that you have it all
money
together.
Or someone will come and attack you.
Do you understand? Or they come and I'll take what you have, so I'm just guarding it. Don't take it away from you. I think it's a mindset thing, but it's always important that you let people know the kind of work that you do. Because yes, the work will speak for itself. Because if there's no work, what are you speaking about? So
but trust me, in our industry, mediocrity they speak. One man party, this is the same way. And I find like that confidence to be loud in ignorance is you rarely find it with women.
Yeah.
And this is me being like 100%.
Very true.
And I know you just said Foza is. If you literally check my tweets or check my LinkedIn post or check it, you hardly will see where I've said, I worked on. So I worked on Black Book, for example.
Yeah.
Right. I did music supervision there. And until Edith came and said, Foza, did you see your name on the thing? I said, my boss, yes. He was just like, it's the #1 film. Why are you not saying anything about it?
Thing that you should have posted.
I know, but I was still like, I said, okay, on Monday, I'll do it sell on Monday. Or I'll do it Women Wednesday crush. Until like 4 weeks, I did not now do it. Right? Because in my head, I was just like, why should I, say, like, it's not pride for me. So for me, it came from because I straight out of law school, we came into the industry when entertainment law wasn't a thing. So it was trial and error. I was so scared of anybody saying you're wrong. So I was always like, don't let me say anything. I don't want to be wrong in public. I would rather be wrong in private.
You actually reminded me of something. Yeah, I agree. Because also being in the position that it was a lot of pressure. In a very forward-facing industry and a very forward-facing company as well. I just didn't want anybody to trace any mistake back to me.
I know. That thing is like, because you're just like...
So it doesn't matter, you don't even know I was there though.
Yeah. And for me, the pressure was just like, you're the only woman in the midst of 10 people. You can't mess it up for the next person coming. That was my pressure. Like, you cannot mess it up for the next woman coming. It was until I clocked 30. I was just like, bro, everybody will find their path. You do your best, you know, and wish other the best. You know, like just like stop putting yourself in that. You know, Inky says something. She said that she feels like ever since I clocked 30, I'm now resting in where. Yes, dear, I'm resting. I love it so much. Now, just from all the conversation that we've said, what going forward, like, what would you like to see? Because this is going to translate from just a podcast. You know, I want to be able to call you and be like, oh, that thing you mentioned, I think let's do something around it. You know, and let's see what we can do. Because I feel, I love women succeeding. It's my joy. Like, I enjoy it. It's like, oh, cool. I might not come and say, hey, but it's just like,
you're saying,
all right, cool. You know, so what do you think, like, going forward, you would like to see to help yourself? Because you also still need pouring into at this stage that you have. Just because we're heads of something or you own your own business, people forget those of us here.
Yeah.
You know, and that trauma that we have, we've not unlearned it, so we unconsciously transfer it to the people coming behind us. And I feel like that's the cycle of problem we have. So what do you feel like going forward that you need as a person, as we're rounding up, as a person, and also what can come out to help the next person or the next woman?
Just to add to what you said, I always say that my spec is rich women doing big things.
I love it.
That's my spec.
Our spec is rich women doing big things. Oh, big things.
Doing big things.
Big things.
That's my spec. Then, so what I feel like I need, or what we need, is, like you said, community. You know, community and community without airs. You know, not like, you know, we're always trying to what's the word? Always trying to maybe reach people who are higher than us, or like reach out to people who are doing better. It's great, you know, but I feel that where the opportunities come more from is from people who are like just right across from you. They're in the trenches with you, or maybe not in the trenches, just above the trenches. They are the ones who, you know, they have all these opportunities here. They're the ones who grow into people who are bigger tomorrow. The people who are ahead of us already have their community. They have the people who they hang with. We need to have our own communities. We need to speak to ourselves. We need to, you know, just be able to share experiences so that we see that these things are actually normal. Things that you go through are normal. You're not alone. You're not weird. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just sometimes it's life, sometimes it's the industry. These kinds of conversations are important. And I think in addition to that, just being easier on ourselves, you know, not so much pressure, oh, I'm not doing this, I haven't done that, this isn't happening. Being easier on ourselves. I think everyone can agree that the industry has become a lot bigger in the last 5-6 years. I even find now that it's a bit harder to even find entertainment lawyers of a certain, like, people are either jackpotting or there's one company poaching this person or poaching the other person. The industry is getting bigger. So we need to keep in contact so that we can share these opportunities with each other and just allow ourselves breathe. Everything will work itself out in the end.
So I'll start with me. I still think that what I need the most is more self-belief. Because like most times we doubt ourselves. We feel like, oh, we may not be able to do it. Maybe because, oh, I'm a woman. Because, oh, the space I would not fit in. Because of so many other reasons. But like for me, the number one thing that I would do even more is believe more in myself and my capabilities and things I can do. Then what I would want for like other lawyers, as she said, community. It is really important that we build a community where we are dependable. So it's not just about building a community and having figureheads, but having a dependable community and then mentorship, because that's something that I had lacked. I would hope that I am able to give back, to build other women. I'm not ready for that though. I did not adapt. I'm not ready for that in the sense that I feel like, why I say I'm not ready for that, there was a level of mentorship that I felt like I desired, and that's the level of mentorship that I want to give to somebody. I do not want to just be another phone number to ring. Do you get? I want to be a dependable mentor, and that's what I am grooming myself to become. That's why I am, every stone that I have found either around me or thrown at me, I'm using it to build so that I am able to carry the next person. But that's what we need as a community. We have to be dependable, including us. Are you ready to be a mentor?
Weirdly enough, I don't know that, I have the capacity to like closely mentor anyone, but I'm open to like people reaching out to say, okay, I'm doing this. What do you think? I feel like to a degree I'm open to that, and I don't want to like take away from your experience or what you feel, but I feel that saying I'm not ready to be a mentor yet. I want to get to a particular space. It's kind of like what guys say when you don't want to marry and they say, I make money, I can't marry. I feel like your experience now,
So,
like Foza said, is fantastic. How many people do you know are killing it in live booking industry? Like so many people will benefit from where you are now.
So like I said, it's not like I definitely want to help people and I'm willing and open to, but like, okay, maybe it's me not categorizing the kind of mentorship I feel like I'm not ready for. So the kind of mentorship I'm not ready for is that ready back that you would ride on. Do you understand? I don't think I have enough strength to bend over now for another person to ride on. But availability, I think I can be available to a certain extent. But don't forget that I am still growing.
You see, this is beautiful because, don't worry, I shall call upon you, and I shall use you according to the capacity that you have. No, but I love the honesty and the openness because it's important. I didn't have that sincerity to myself, and that was the reason why I crashed and burned. And I think that I did more disservice than service, because I was carrying too much than I should have been handling. Because of also that fear and stuff. But just part of the things that like Inky, I love that Inky recognized this my 30th phase. Because it's the best phase for me. It's like I'm finally like free and enjoying really my purpose. My purpose is creating wealth for creatives. And I'm extending that to creating wealth for female creatives and the female creative stakeholders. I'm intentional about it. I used to hide it before because I was like, they'll tag me an angry feminist or angry whatever it is. But for me, it's just like, we do good work, we should be rewarded accordingly.
Yeah.
So there's going to be lots of initiative coming out. I'm going to be calling upon you. It's on the podcast. It's recorded. And they're going to answer. I'm glad I did this, and thank you for honoring me, guys.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for conversation.
I'm looking forward to this expanding into something that a community that we can all rely on at some point. And guys, that's the end of this podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Toodles.
Hi, my name is Otike-Odibi. I'm an entertainment lawyer, and I was just on her creative journey with Foza.
Hello everyone, my name is Lucklyn Audu, and I am an entertainment lawyer. I was just on her creative journey podcast with Foza. Make sure you don't miss it.